Welcome everyone, and welcome to Tech Talk Friday. I'm in Penang today, so it's this week has been an exciting week in Penang. A lot of tech in Penang. In fact, Nvidia leader is in Penang, and I was just having breakfast with him, Raghu Ganti, and we were talking a little bit about talent, AI talent in Penang and in Malaysia in general, and Southeast Asia, and the struggle for talent, and probably one of the most talented leaders, I think, in Penang and probably in Malaysia is the UST Global leader for Malaysia, Amar Chhajer. Amar, welcome to the show. We're so happy to have you in our show today and having you here in Tech Talk Friday. Amar, maybe very quickly you can introduce yourself, introduce a little bit about UST Global. We're so excited to have you on our show and tell us a bit about how you got yourself into the tech space.
Thank you, Roshan. Thank you, everyone, and my pleasure to be on your show, Roshan. I'm a big fan of yours. Thank you for your kind words. And I think there are leaders like you and Leaderonomics that makes people continuously learning and more talent, So being talented is a continuous learning journey, which I believe, and leaders like you play a great role in making that happen. So I do technology consulting. I've been into this business for around 20 years. I work with companies like Accenture, Oracle before I joined UST around 15 years back. I have been stuck with UST in its beautiful journey of transforming lives, bringing knowledge economy into different countries. I had the opportunity to start multiple locations for UST in Southeast Asia and Eastern Europe, and it's been an exciting journey. We'll talk through the discussion, what it goes, but then primarily we focus on providing digital transformation solutions to the Fortune 500 and Global 1000 companies. And what I do in Malaysia and Southeast Asia is become an offshore delivery center for our American customers, besides supporting the captives of those American and European and Singaporean customers who are based in Malaysia and bringing the best of the technology world for them.
So talk us through your journey, right? I mean, you came to Malaysia almost like in a startup mode, right? For UST, now it's the number of employees you have, the kind of companies that you impact across not just Malaysia, I think across Asia and the work that you do globally with UST, right? How did it all begin?
Yes, it was 14 years back, around 2010-11. I was in Bangalore and we were catering global American clients as an offshore delivery from India. That's what is popular in India, doing IT services, for the global corporates. And in that journey, while I was hosting a few customers, some of them were from Malaysia, and then they expressed this thought that, wow, India has such a matured IT and engineering services model. We wish we could have some of that in Malaysia. And I really picked on to that thought. It was interesting journey and conversation for me. And that time, UST already had its operations in cybersecurity. We started in 2006 in Malaysia, while I'm talking about 2010-11, 5 years after that. But then we were focused on supporting our typical banking and other customers, which we traditionally have been doing. And that happens to be in KL cybersecurity. But in this conversation, I'm talking about semicon manufacturing customers. And that's what got us to Penang. We came here to see what value can we add. And that's what I love about UST's journey, Roshan. We are more about what value we can create. And we work with very few clients. So we are still a privately held company, 30% owned by Temasek. Rest, a bigger chunk is with a group called Comcraft Group, still like a family-owned, but a very professional organization. Focusing on humanitarian grounds, like our values are humility, humanity, integrity. And why it helps us to grow in a location like Malaysia, because as you would understand, traditionally, especially in Penang and Malaysia, we have been known more for a manufacturing economy, besides the oil and the palm oil business that we have. So UST came as a refreshing change agent that brought in the engineering R&D, IT, digital transformation, cybersecurity, and now we're going to Gen AI and stuffs like that. So we came as a refreshing company. Usually, companies like us are more prevalent in US and in India, with some focus in Singapore. But Malaysia is not a very popular choice. So that's where I think that struck well with UST, me, and Malaysia, because we could bring value. So what keeps me excited every day is we are still bringing value to Malaysia from where we started. I happened to start our operations in Penang from scratch then. From zero to now, we are around 1,500 people in the location. My overall organization could be close to 2,000, which includes different parts of Southeast Asia as well. And then I think this journey has been powerful, and we have been able to position Malaysia as a hub for Southeast Asia, which is what I'm very vocal about, because the kind of cultural diversity we have, linguistic skills we have, the time zone we are into, and luckily what's happening with the US and the China trade conflict. I think we really got lucky. And I think luck is a key part, Roshan, I would say. While I could brag about what great stuff I did and how wonderful company UST is, but I think luck had a role to play. We were in the right place at the right time. And my family fell in love with Malaysia. That also has a lot of part to be here. My daughters are growing here. Father is with me. So I think personally for me, I was in a safe space zone. Family loved it. UST's organizational values are about transforming lives. We have done programs even in US and Step It Up America, where we are training minority women. So when I wanted to train people in Malaysia on engineering R&D skills, IT, digital transformation, my company was like happy and supportive, like, yes, let's do it. That's our values. Those are our mission. We should do that. And our customers stood by the side, because these customers, they saw a lot of these work happening in Malaysia now. Earlier, they had to work with us in the US and India and other parts of the world. But when we started bringing those center of excellences for them in Malaysia, they loved it. They could start those departments. So I think it was a value creation. And that's what keeps us exciting and relevant.
Fantastic. One of the things I think that is transformative or is happening in the world is all the different digital permutations that's going to change business, the landscape, jobs. All these things are going to change. But again, I was having a conversation with the NVIDIA leaders and with kind of some of the significant Penang leaders, and UST is helping to say, hey, companies, you need to be preparing yourself for this digital transformation. However, part of the dialogue just this morning over breakfast with a couple of these guys were, Malaysian and a lot of Southeast Asian businesses are still struggling to adapt to this digital transformation, or wanting to go in it in a very proactive and a big way. I know, it's critical, but how is UST? This is the core of your business, but what are you finding in terms of the sentiment? I know you guys are growing in a significant way, but there's still so many companies that need this transformation, right? So what's kind of your advice to enable more of the industry to want to come to people like you and say, hey, let's transform?
That's a great question, Roshan, and I'm very vocal, and I'm trying to create more and more awareness on this, because and I've seen some of your talks also on the similar lines. If we don't change with what's happening around us, I think we'll become obsolete, right? And there have been different waves that have been striking businesses, impacting, or enabling digital transformation. For example, the businesses that were already digital before COVID came in, they really thrived, and they made so much money that they had not made in their whole span of business tenure, because they were already digital, whether we are talking about restaurant business or transport business or any kind of businesses, training, development, whatever were already digital, they thrive. But the cloud data have been there for more than a decade, right? Businesses have gone online, but some of them did not adapt to it and didn't go with it. And that's now, that's what has happened. Work that we are trying to do with cyber armor and other things, because one of the problems, and a lot of business owners are my friends, CIOs, CTOs, when I talk to them from the local organizations, it's not that they don't want to do it. They also come from corporates like us, Roshan. They have worked with American companies, European companies, they have global exposure. But then the problem is they have their own P&L to take care of. And that's when what I feel is the SaaS business, right? When we provide the services which are tailor-made, customized for the Global South. And Global South, not only Malaysia, Global South is the new focus in the whole world economy, as we understand. Americas and Europe's are probably, some of them are looking into recession, some of them are posing threat on the business growth that they can give, but everyone is looking at Global South. There are so many GCCs that are starting in Asia right now, right? And there's a reason. It's not only for the labor arbitrage cost that they get here, but then they are really looking at serving this market. Right. So that's where we'll also have advantage. But then getting to your point, Roshan, what I think is the intent is there. The awareness is there. We need to create that more. But then as leaders who are taking these solutions to the market, we also need to take the solutions which are tailor-made to them, with that quality. And SaaS, it's as a service. You pay as a service, you pay by month, you pay by user, and you make it relevant for that particular company and how they can get immediate value from those implementations and digital transformation. I think we are talking about small wins. We are not talking about a 1 year, 2 year implementation spending a few $1 million. We are looking at, okay, what can I do this quarter with this much dollar, and I get some return, and then I keep on doing iterative innovation and digital transformation. I think that's the journey that we are into, Roshan, and that's what I think together with you and CyberArmor makes a wholesome proposition for us into market. We have similar offerings also on Gen AI. How can we get our customers, even if they are small SMEs or large Malaysian conglomerates, how can they adapt to Gen AI? In a smaller way, can have some use cases, applications, but then we need to put the security guardrails to them. We need to be careful about the data. That's why we need CyberArmor there. And then we also need a bit of a cloud. We need a bit of a data lake and all that stuff. So it all comes together, but it's not as huge, as expensive, and as difficult to get approvals these days, because people have had different shocks and they understand, and there's so many cyber attacks happening. We all understand, that. So I think there's a good environment. I hope this is again a right timing for leaders like us in the industry, and I hope we deliver the value that we are supposed to deliver for the companies here.
Yeah, I think the bigger challenge is, when you do, especially with these emerging technologies like Gen AI and cybersecurity, and new tools like Shepherd and all these other different AI tools and so on, is how do you prepare the workforce? And I know you guys do quite a bit in terms of helping the Malaysian workforce embrace and adopt these new technologies. What are some of the things that you guys are doing in terms of enabling that to happen?
Yeah. So there are two things, Roshan. I mean, not a secret, but then through my value chain, I myself was an engineer. I did these things myself. So it also helps me to understand, how because whether it's a Malaysian graduate or an Indian graduate or from anywhere, usually in engineering, we are taught 20 different things. You understand that, right, Roshan? And then out of that, maybe half of those things we work for our lives. That's how engineering is. It's very vast. They just develop problem-solving skills, analytical skills in a person, right? But then there's a greater role for companies like us to play, where we really give them the opportunities. We also assess what their strengths are. We just don't put people into development, into AI, into blockchain, into cybersecurity. We really see what is the person good at. And it's a mechanism. We call it a factory model. We get people in, and that's how we hire at masses. We would be hiring at least a few hundred fresh graduates every year, Roshan, without fail. Seniors, we might limit, because, I'm really a fan of developing leaders internally, working with leaders like you, training and upskilling our people. But then I really feel that the right thing to do is get a lot of intake from the universities, the fresh minds, and then train them to assess what are their core competencies, what naturally they like, what they would enjoy. But people do switch in between as well. People do switch from development to testing, from SOC to NOC. There are even people who are going from software development to IC design. We do all of those, right? And then we assess, we kind of support, we kind of coach them. But the problem is that where people suffer or where people see failures are, because I meet a lot of leaders who say that, hey, how do you hire? We have no talent, companies come in, we pinch from each other and all that. So those who are looking at immediate results, I would say sorry, but those who are into a long-term vision of transforming lives, of really staying invested, you've got to have some senior talent for sure. And whether you have them locally or whether you import from their regional headquarters or from your headquarters, I think that is key. But then if you have the right SMEs, the subject matter experts, if you have a culture of training and development in your company, and then if you're looking at a long-term perspective, these three things, I think, is really critical for doing talent. We have been lucky and we have been very successful at it, but I think it's less to do with UST Malaysia or Amar. I often tell people, UST with its 35,000 people and in 35 countries, and what we do as a company since last 25 years, I think I know many companies might be better than UST in technology, might be better in something, but I personally don't know any company, Roshan, which is better in transforming lives. I really don't know, and that's why I'm stuck with this organization. That also aligns with my personal values, where I come from. So I think with that overall structure of UST and the opportunity that we saw in Malaysia and the offerings that UST had, the experts that we had globally. And when we started, we were like a bunch of foreigners. I still remember when we were at 40, 50, 100 people, we would be like 80, 90% expats. And that's when we started extensive local hirings. And now we are like 87% local. We still have a lot of foreigners from different countries because we continue to evolve, we continue to learn. And some people love to stay in Malaysia like I do. So we still have that 13, 14, 15% of expatriates. But then majority of our 1,500 workforce is all local Malaysian. So it's been a great journey, but it's a tough one, not easy, but it's doable, and there's a lot of fun and value in doing that.
Fantastic. And you can check out UST.com. I think that's the website, some of the services. We have a number of questions that's coming in from some of our listeners. But just before I get to some of the questions from that, one of the things that we talked a little bit about is SSHepherd. And UST is now going into cybersecurity in a big way. You own a cybersecurity company called Cyberproof, right? And talk us through that whole cybersecurity space, and why technology like SSHepherd and Cyberproof and all, why is it such a big deal to get into the cybersecurity space for UST?
No, absolutely. And we have been into the cybersecurity space globally for a very, very long time, Roshan. But again, the thing was that what works in rest of the world, especially with the American and European conglomerates, which are typical customers of UST, doesn't go very well with the companies at a regional Southeast Asia and a Malaysia level, because of the buying parity, their ROI, and, sometimes the labor happens to be cheaper in the Asian countries. So, the ROI on digital transformation is not that easily justified as it's in a high cost Western countries. So those challenges have been there in general. Okay, but then why SSHepherd came as a refreshing change, and along with a couple of other products, I would say, is first of all, like I said, it's a solution that fits right into what can be applied immediately in an iterative basis. I love when Dan. I met Danny, and he's a lovely guy. I probably think he's one of the world's best cybersecurity leaders around, and we are lucky to have him with us in our time. Even talking to him is fun. Right. So having a leader like him who really has, and they have created multiple products. They really understand, what scale, what problems, what ROI that it applies to. The beauty I see with SSHepherd is it can be applied and implemented with a very small scale. And I love technology transformations which are iterative, which can be started small. So a POC that can happen in 2 to 3 weeks with a small spend. And then even with an ability to just safeguard your important servers or your important area within your whole network, right? Those things are very refreshing, Roshan. And when I looked at a solution like this, besides it's world class, what they are doing, I personally don't know of any other company in the world that has a solution like SSHepherd who exactly solves the problem that SSHepherd is solving. That is one part of it. But then why am I focusing on doing that extensively in Malaysia is because it really applies to the businesses in a right way, and they'll be able to even apply small, get that value while we scale with it. So these are the two things that I feel, Roshan, is important. I don't want to get in the details of the hacks and the problems and what is also, but at large, it basically takes away, those sensitive servers and information that you want away from everyone's eyes, right? So it becomes a vacuum. People cannot see it. When they cannot see it, they cannot attack it. And this is not very typical to cybersecurity solutions around. So it's really interesting.
Yeah. So and officially, UST Global is the distributor for SSHepherd to CyberArmor. So if Malaysian companies are looking at protecting yourself in a very unique way, look out. Reach out to Amar and the team from UST Global for SSHepherd. We're going to take a 30-second break to just check this whole concept of what the SSHepherd product is. So we'll take a short break and then we'll come back. We'll be back with Amar Chhajer from UST Global. So here's a quick sneak preview of SSHepherd. Tech Talk Friday. I'm here with Amar Chhajer from UST Global. We're talking a little bit about some of the digital transformations that UST is driving in Malaysia, Southeast Asia, and beyond. And I think new emerging industries like generative AI, cybersecurity, and the need for organizations to really embrace those technologies and also transform. A couple of questions. I'm going to start with one from Ng Ziwei. What are some unique challenges Malaysia's face in its digital transformation journey compared to other countries? I think to sort of take Ziwei's question a little, you hear of what's happening in China, Vietnam, and some of these other countries, and you look at Malaysia and say, hey, aren't we left behind? What in your words, what do you think some of these challenges are, Amar?
So, Xavier, thanks for the question. One thing I'll tell you is, because I play a lot in this region, I'm where the rubber meets the road, right? I really know what's happening, what kind of people are there, what customers are feeling. I think Malaysia is not as bad. That's the first thing. And the digital adoption in Malaysia is one of the best that I've seen in the world, really the best, because even at a very bottom level, at a consumer level, everyone has a smartphone. They are connected to internet. The mobile apps are there. They are digital, the e-wallets and all the penetration. So Malaysia is pretty strong in general. Now, what it means is, but still, the digital transformation journey, I still believe that there are a lot of businesses, there are still a lot of organizations who have not been able to exploit the full potential of digital. They have not unleashed it completely because of their budget limitations, because there's also a bit of a talent issue that comes in, and that goes to the budget, right? Because you don't have easily available resources to do it. You have to pay a little bit more. You have to find experts from Singapore, from India, from America, blah, blah, blah. So, but then I think it's changing fast from what we imagine. And there are a lot of companies like UST, Amar that are trying to get to people into this space. And I think it's getting better and better. And we need more solutions like SSHepherd is what I think, which are tailor-made and customized to the Malaysian markets. That is which will fuel the acceleration of the digital adoption of many companies in Malaysia.
All right, thanks. This next question from Stacy is a little bit more on UST. So we talked about Malaysia and transformation. How about UST's global plans for Malaysia? What are you thinking in terms of how do you grow the Malaysian market for UST? I think.
Sure. Thank you, Stacy. That's a great question. Market has been going through its own, mood swings. May call it, from COVID, there was a peak, and then there was a great resignation period. We were worried about people leaving, and we started acquiring companies in Eastern Europe. We started operations in Vietnam. So we really wanted to go after talent. And then all of a sudden, we thought that there's a recession, not enough, business. And then we thought what to do with those people. So we have been going through changes. Even now, there are different segments of industry. They are going through different volatility, right? So what UST is doing is, first of all, we think every crisis is an opportunity. That's what I feel. And even a volatile market, if we can cater the right problems of our customers, we will still stay significant and relevant to core their business. And that's what is our clear focus right now. We are adapting our workforce out of our 35,000 people that exist. Our CEO Krishna Satindra had announced in our last annual function that we are going to train 25,000 people that within a year on Gen AI possibilities. So we have globally partnered with NVIDIA as well. We have got the GPUs. There are continuous trainings happening on AI, Gen AI. We are working with our customers. We have workshops. We are understanding how do we bring that automation, that digital transformation at an accelerated pace, keeping that relevant, and keeping that safe. So that's been our key focus. But there are two things. First is automating and keeping the business of our customers relevant, adopting them with the technology. But the most important is how do we do that to our employees first? So both of those things are our key priority, and they are running in parallel. They cannot happen one after the other. They are running in parallel, and we are spearheading this in a very fast, accelerated manner.
Sorry, I think my internet may not be so stable. Amar, usually in the Tech Talk we always have a fire round where we talk a little bit about your personal sort of questions. There's a couple of personal questions for you, and so I'm going to go into this fire round where what we do in Tech Talk Friday is you're going to answer the questions in a very quick manner, between 30 seconds to a minute. So I'm going to give you 5 questions in this round, and just tell us a little bit about yourself personally, Amar. So question number 1, if you could change something in the world, what would you change?
Yeah, I would make it more spiritual and more peaceful.
I love that. Okay, what is your favorite non-tech related topic?
I love health, and within health, I love mental health more than physical health, because physical health people can see and they can tell what they're going through. I think mental health is one important area which I like more, and more people to talk about, learn, understand, and develop, create more awareness. And you are doing a great job on that, Roshan. One of those things I love about you is that with your Wednesday wellness stuffs and amazing things.
Fantastic. Now imagine if you had a time machine and can give advice to your younger self. What advice would you give yourself?
Yeah, I always think about it. What are the things I should have learned when I was 20? And but I do that to my kids a lot, Roshan. I feel that you don't have to really age to become wise, and the digital is enabling a lot to our kids. They are much smarter than we were. So continuous learning is what, and my spiritual journey is what I started a bit later in my life. I wish I had those tools, techniques, and that perspective to learn faster and stronger when I was still young. So yeah, that's what I would think.
You're still young, Now we're probably gonna live very long. Hopefully, all of us. If so a couple more, 2 more questions. I think if you could have a superpower related to business, what would it be?
Power in business is always money, money and customer. But yeah, I think one of the superpowers that I feel and that I am afraid about is misusing digital to create havoc, to create wars. It's like a bomb, sometimes. So I feel if one superpower I could have, I would really take away all the negative impact of technology, and maybe I would a powerful shepherd, a
Yeah.
powerful shepherd solution like that,
Make
which
all
would
the
really
bad things disappear, right? Can't be
exactly,
seen.
maybe we should do it at a governance level, at a country level, at corporate level. We should make it fully secure so that the technology cannot harm anyone. That's one superpower I would have asked for.
Yeah. Okay, fantastic. Last question. What's the best thing about your life?
Ah, best thing about my life is there are many things, Roshan, but what keeps me happier the most is a continuous learning journey. I think I stay young and relevant when I'm learning, and I like to learn new things again and again. But I also love being in Malaysia. We tried living different countries in the world, and I think where we are is also great. Family, I like to be a balanced person, mix of worlds. So I think mixing the spiritual growth with personal growth, with career growth, with a mixed family, balanced life with the continuous learning. I think for a best life, you got to have a balance of everything. One thing alone cannot make it best. Yeah.
Love it. Very, very good perspective, right? Having a kind of a holistic thing. Quick call out. The Malaysia Leadership Summit. It's a big event where and this year it's going to be on AI, right? So leaders from all over the world are going to come out to Malaysia September 18th in the Sime Darby Convention Center. And you can come and hear some of these guys. This is the website for you to register for it. So Amar, as we close out today, one of the things I want to talk a little bit about is what kind of advice would you give to a business owner or a CEO of a company, especially someone here in Southeast Asia, and that every single company in Malaysia, Southeast Asia is going to be challenged globally. Whether you produce services locally or internationally, digital is going to continue to permeate the ability to provide services from anywhere to everybody. What sort of advice would you give to business owners and leaders of big organizations, right, in terms of what steps should they take so that they too, before they get overtaken by a global power that's taking over their niche business, what should they be thinking about in terms of digital and technology, in terms of how to sort of be that player rather than become taken over by that player?
I think they should act fast, Roshan, is what I feel. Most of what you said right now, I think most of the business owners somewhere know it in back of their mind, but they are still stuck in their regular operations. They want to do it. They say, Amar, we want to do it, but blah, 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 I have this, I have this. But they don't realize that, they can become a Kodak or, a Nokia or whatever we may say, right? That faster than they realize. So I think that, I would request them to act fast. I would request them to make small bets if difficult, if long bets are difficult, but they should start immediately. They should act fast to stay relevant.
I love it. So, as we wrap this up, Amar, such a pleasure talking to you. Continue to wish you all the best at UST as you get into this new emerging technology, generative AI. And if any company in Malaysia, Southeast Asia, Asia is looking for digital transformation, I think the best people to talk to are the folks from UST Global. They can reach out to you at ust.com. There's when they get on the website, there should be space for them to connect with you, right, Amar? Is that the best way for them to reach out to you?
Yes, Roshan. Thank you for
All
that.
right. So feel free to reach out. Amar, thanks again for being with us. We will look forward to seeing you guys next week, same time, it'll be 10 a.m. It'll be 1 hour later next week. But we'll be back every Friday on Tech Talk Friday. Amar, thanks so much for your time. All the best. Everyone have a blessed Friday. Have a wonderful weekend and have a great time, everyone. Bye from Tech Talk Friday.